Welcome. My name's Dion Bates, and I'm one of the directors of special education here at KVEC in the implementation and improvement. Rachel comes to us from the Kentucky Department of Education and has a presentation for us around cultivating staff social emotional learning. And so we're excited to have Rachel. She is going to be providing this session for us today. We welcome her, and I'm going to turn it over to Rachel and let her proceed. Thank you, Rachel, for being with us today.
Thanks, Dion. Thank you all for having me. I just want to say that, first of all, the reason that I started working with Cultivating Staff SEL is because, one, I was in that classroom for the last 10 years. Two, after looking at the Kentucky impact data, it's obvious that, teachers are feeling a great amount of stress. And I think sometimes we forget to take care of ourselves, and it's hard to take care of us. And, 20 something other students and other staff in the building. So that's why I'm here today, because that is definitely one of my passions in the work that I do. Again, I'm with the Kentucky Department of Education. I have been there almost 2 years. I was in Fayette County Public Schools the past 10 years prior to that. And today we're going to learn a little bit about what staff SEL will look like, and how to manage our own selves and to take care of our own selves. Expectations, you all know, just to stay muted and silence your phones and try to be present, because I really want this to be something that is beneficial to you all. And then, like, our objectives today is just going to understand the importance of staff SEL. We're going to learn the importance of understanding, recognizing, regulating, and controlling your own emotions, and learn how to understand and support staff SEL in the building. You want to be able to cultivate those adult relationships, because those are going to be some of the most important relationships that you have when you work in education. And then, when you take care of the staff in the building, it tends to trickle down to the students, and you just see a very good school climate when everyone is working on the same page. What I would like for you to do, kind of take a deep breath in, and then just choose 3 words that you're feeling right now and type into the chat box. And I'll have either Dion or Doug or someone can let me know some of the words that are really sticking out right now. And it just kind of lets you say, hey, this is how I'm feeling. And that's okay to feel that way, because everybody else in this meeting, most likely there's at least half that is feeling the same way you are. So just choose 3 words, type them in the chat, and then I'll give it just a little bit less than a minute, and Doug can just start telling me some of those words that are popping out.
Looks like we've got stressed, overwhelmed, exhausted, pleased, tired, hot, overwhelmed, stressed, exhausted, tense, nervous, sleepy.
Yes, I feel you all. Trust me.
Hopeful, blessed.
Just know, when you choose these words, you all, it's this is for you. It is absolutely 100% okay to own the way you're feeling. Doug, thank you for giving me some of those words, because I'm sure that we are all feeling the same way, and it getting towards the end of the year, we all know how crazy it gets. This little exercise is called Name It to Tame It. You saw it's less than a minute. You can do that with your staff. You can do it with your team. You can do it with students, age appropriate words, letting them choose how they feel. And then I put a book here, Permission to Feel, by Mark Brackett. And it's just unlocking that power of emotions and remembering that, again, it is okay to feel what you feel. The first section I want to cover is understanding why adult SEL is so important. I chose this quote just because I love this, and I think it's so important. The most valuable resource that all teachers have is each other. Without collaboration, our growth is limited to our own perspectives. And, today I was in a meeting and we talked about our own implicit biases and social biases that we, you don't necessarily know you have until you're in a situation. And just getting to know your staff and the people that you work with, those are the people that are with you every day in the trenches, feeling the same way you are 90% of the time. I'm going to read this vocabulary portion because Castle just changed some of the wording for what social emotional learning is back at the end of last year. So social and emotional learning is an integral part of education and human development. It's the process through which all young people and adults acquire and apply the knowledge, skills, attitudes to develop healthy identities, manage emotions, and achieve personal and collective goals. Feel and show empathy for others, establish and maintain supportive relationships, and make responsible and caring decisions. Um, when you think about SEL, of course, you want to understand what all that entails. And today I want us to focus on um, 5 portions of what Castle has given us, but I want us to understand the vocabulary behind it because it's important for us to understand all aspects in order to better ourselves, help better others around us, help better our classroom, be able to share it with our students, and really just work on ourselves during this time. SEL advances educational equity and excellence through authentic school, family, community partnerships to establish learning environments and experiences that feature trusting and collaborative relationships, rigorous and meaningful curriculum and instruction, and ongoing evaluation. SEL can address various forms of inequity, empower young people and adults to co-create thriving schools, and contribute to safe, healthy, and just communities. Social awareness, involves that ability to understand and empathize with people around you. Relationship skills, we are in the relationship business. When you are in education, you're building relationships with the people around you in the building, with the students, with the families, with the community. When you have good relationship skills, like active listening and communication, conflict resolution skills, that is a big part of what SEL is. And, some of this is not, second nature. Some of this is things that we have to learn or we have to change as we go. I wish I had the skills now that I had, that I could have had when I was younger. So it's really important to think about as we're learning these, how to share these with our students, because eventually those students are going to grow up and giving them anything that they can have in their SEL toolbox, I think is going to make everybody's future brighter. So SEL starts with you. We all need to feel valued, supported, and a sense of belonging. We need to develop, practice, and model the same competencies we expect from the students. Students know if you don't get along with other staff. They are like little investigators. We all know this. But just making sure that we understand that there is a bigger picture out there. Everybody is going through something. I'll just show you this video. So, that video, it really affected me because, I think about us every day going into the school, and you have to turn everything off that you're feeling, everything that's going on in your own life, and go in and try to take care of these kids and all of their needs and all the things that they're going through. And it's a lot. You know, Educators, people in education, man, no one really understands until you're there. Castle has, developed these indicators for school-wide SEL. And what we're going to focus on today is self-awareness, social awareness, relationship skills, self-management, and responsible decision-making. So the Castle 5 can be taught and applied at various developmental stages, and that's from children to adults, so this is different age levels. It doesn't matter. It's for everyone. And, taking care of yourself is going to help you, take care of others. So that's what we're going to focus on today. So the first one is self-awareness. So when you think of self-awareness, we all know some of our tendencies, whether they're positive or negative, but starting to realize those, like identifying personal, cultural, and linguistic assets, identifying your emotions, integrating personal and social identities, demonstrating honesty and integrity, linking feelings, values, and thoughts, examining prejudices and biases, experiencing self-efficacy, and having a growth mindset, and developing interests and a sense of purpose. And, as we do this, not all of this is easy. This, taking care of yourself, starting to get in touch with your own self and your own needs is not something that is easily done. One of the ways that a lot of people, you get online, you take those surveys. I know you all have done it. If you have Facebook, the ones that says, oh, if you do this, pick which color, and that tells you something about yourself. Well, there is a self-assessment for educators. And, and it kind of tells you a little bit about yourself too, but it's from research-based, not Facebook. So I want to show you a little example of that. And it's an example of a self-care assessment. And, I've watched a lot of my peers take this, and it's sad because none of us really, truly 100% always take care of ourselves. And I'm sure if you all did this, there's a lot of things that you could work on. And you can take this self-care assessment on your own. You can do it with your staff. You can do it with your team. And, if you all wanted to do it and talk about it so that you have a group that you can share those things with, to let some of that stress and stuff go. It's got a great planning tool on it. I would suggest just taking that few minutes to do it. Maybe it takes 10 or 15 minutes, and it's worth it because then you can kind of get a good look at yourself while you're doing it. Another thing that, I didn't really think about character strengths, like those positive qualities that we think about in ourselves, thoughts, feelings, actions that promote the well-being of ourselves. I mean, valuing different characteristics, trying to find your character strengths. You can probably in your mind think about what your strengths are. Do you utilize all of them? Is there character strengths that you have that you don't utilize? How do you get to that point? Well, there's a framework that identifies 24 character strengths, and that often organizes them under 6 core virtues. And the virtues are broader characteristics that have been valued in philosophical and spiritual traditions across time and space. It is a character strength assessment. A lot of teams, a lot of places in business go onto this webpage. You register, you take the assessment, and you find out what your character strengths are. And, they use that for a team building exercise. So you could do it individually. Again, you could do it with a team, or if you could do it with your staff. But you see these values are broken down to wisdom, courage, humanity, justice, temperance, and transcendence. And it's got a little description out from it. And then character strengths and happiness. Well, I've never really looked into the research about character strengths, and particularly hope, zest, gratitude, love, and curiosity are consistently related to greater life satisfaction and positive emotions. And similar results have been found all over the world. People who report using their strengths more tend to also have greater well-being. They identified their top strengths and were asked to use those strengths in new ways. They became happier, less depressed 6 months later, especially compared to people who didn't do the exercises that come with this. When you think about looking into these new ways of thinking, I'm going to register. I haven't done this character strength thing in years. We did something similar when I was in the classroom. So I think I'm going to do it again, or maybe do it with my team at work. But I was like, I really think that this is a really good activity to start to learn new things about yourself. And then intellectual and emotional character strengths are associated with physical fitness, feeling healthy, and health behaviors, such as eating healthy and having an active lifestyle. And people with character strengths are less likely to have a history of illness. Let's see, sorry, I do not have my glasses on. People who are in character strengths show greater resilience. And it's funny, when you think about using these things, there's a lot of research behind like the way that like your health, like those things in your mind that makes you not eat healthy, the things in your mind that helps you not make the good physical fitness choices. And it all kind of relates back to those character strengths. There's character strengths associated with better job performance. There's also some that helps you with cope with stress at work. They talked about people that volunteered are happier people, even though that, there's more work going on. They have found more meaning and well-being in their life. And I always wonder how people that always find the time to volunteer. But if you look into it, those people are a lot happier people. And, just trying to find the time to do that might be something that would help you, boost a little something in you didn't know you had too. They say the more people that are able to apply their character strengths at work, the more positive experiences and well-beings at work they tend to have. And then teachers who demonstrate character strengths of social intelligence, humor, and zest have been shown to be more effective over time in terms of their students' improvements. That's according to standardized testing. There's just a little quote I'll let you guys read. Self-management is the second portion that we're going to go over. And this is one that is very difficult for a lot of people. Being able to manage your own emotions, thoughts, and behaviors effectively in different situations and achieve goals and aspirations, it's a lot. You have the world to manage. If you have kids, husbands, wives, schoolwork, graduate work, classroom grading, there's just so much going on. It's hard to even think about taking time for yourself. Managing stress and feeling motivation and being able to accomplish personal and collective goals. So if you're thinking about managing your emotions, people always talk about self-care or stress management strategies, exhibiting self-discipline and self-motivation, setting personal and collective goals, using planning and organizational tools or skills, showing the courage to take initiative, and demonstrating personal and collective agency. And self-management is hard, but it has to be done in order for us to feel and take better care of ourselves, because we are taking care of the world. When you're in a classroom or you're in education, it's like you're taking care of all these other families aside from your own. So during that, let's talk about finding that self-compassion or self-kindness. Self-compassion is, practicing quieting that inner critic and replacing it with a voice of support, understanding, and care for oneself. Self-kindness, being gentle and understanding with ourselves, rather than harsh, critical, and judgmental, and recognition of common humanity. We feel connected with others and the experiences that we have. Being mindful, which is holding our experiences in balanced awareness, rather than ignoring our pain or exaggerating it. For many people who value compassion for others, the idea of self-compassion may not immediately make sense, but finding that self-compassion is going to be what helps you get through on those really, really hard days. Self-compassion promotes well-being. They say it, improves well-being, reduce psychological problems. There's programs out there to build self-compassion, and those have been shown to increase mindfulness and decrease depression, anxiety, and stress. There's lots of things online. I'm a firm believer that, Google does hold the key to a lot of this. There's a lot of great online programs that teaches, taking care of yourself, different self-help free videos. There's a ton of things going on right now, especially due to the pandemic, that is now online instead of having to go in somewhere to work out or in somewhere to do mindfulness or to go in to do yoga somewhere. You can do those things at home. And then feeling compassion for ourselves in no way releases us from responsibility for our actions. Rather, it releases us from self-hatred that prevents us from responding to our life with clarity and balance. Self-compassion helps us be more empathetic and forgiving. Higher levels of emotional support resolve interpersonal conflicts in healthier ways. Even in romantic relationships, self-compassion research shows that those people are more supportive and less controlling and aggressive, that take, the people that take care of themselves. Self-compassion makes us more resilient, better able to cope with difficult life experiences, higher confidence. When self-compassionate people do fail, they use healthier coping strategies and they're able to bounce back. There's a lot going on in this world. So anything that you can do to take care of yourself is so important, because there's only one you. And if you look around, it usually ends up you're the one that has to take care of you more than anyone else. It motivates self-improvement. People are more self-compassionate, are more likely to take responsibility for their past mistakes. They have more motivation to improve in their weakest areas. Self-compassion can reduce procrastination, helps us stay healthy, lead to better immune functioning, healthier physical stress responses, helps people stay motivated to exercise, quit smoking, and maintain healthy diets, while also relating to a healthier body image. Practicing mindfulness, you have a higher sense of well-being. You are better able to manage classroom behavior. You're better able to manage your relationships with your students, your family, your coworkers. I put this little activity on here because, I always think of trying to explain things to kids sometimes in that social emotional learning aspect, depending on the grade level. I know if you've ever made a glitter jar, just imagine the glitter, all of it, something's happening, you're mad or upset, and your emotions are everywhere. So when you shake that glitter jar, it's like having all those emotions all at once. And it's not safe to respond during that time. But if you watch, you see the second jar, it's starting to calm down a little bit. And you're like, okay, it's starting to, go down, get to the surface. And then all of a sudden it's kind of clear. So it's best, for us to wait for those waters to clear before we respond to certain situations. A lot of times we respond in anger or upset, or, just responding in a moment of heat, can cause all kinds of complications with your coworkers or even with students. So just remembering to let it settle before you handle a situation. It's just always better to take a minute. And that's a great activity to show kids about not responding so quickly or not arguing or fighting so quickly. I have included a self-care bingo for you guys. I gave you a blank sheet and a sheet that is actually filled out already. And you can do this individually. You can do it as a group. You could do it as a family. You could do it at home. You could do it with the kids. I mean, whoever you want to do it with, this is for you. If you can see, write down 3 nice things about yourself. Sometimes just, kind words to yourself is something you need, but you have to start believing in it and you have to start accepting it. Stepping out for some fresh air. If you're online all the time, or even if you're in the classroom with kids, taking them out for a brief walk, sometimes it helps them gather themselves and get themselves together too. Keeping a journal. Tech breaks, stepping away from your phones and computers. I'm a firm believer at night, I'd put my phone down and spend time with my family. Call, not text a friend. I'm sorry, I'm old fashioned. I'm still a caller. So, sometimes people just want to hear your voice, especially your family. taken an online class, workshop, or listened to a TED talk. Declutter a space. They say the more spaces you declutter, the healthier and happier you are as well. Listen to a favorite song and dance if you feel like it. Nobody has to see it. Spend 5 minutes stretching or light a favorite candle and read a book. Think of things you are grateful for. Get creative, color, paint, binge watch a funny show, get a massage, cook a healthy meal, go to bed early, bring the spa home, do your nails, lotion, special lotions, anything that makes you feel better. I mean, sometimes even yard work for my husband says yard work helps him distress because he sees like that positive goal when it's done. So something that, makes you feel good, it's for you. I had someone tell me one time, if you took just 10 minutes for yourself that no one else can be a part of, let your family know ahead of time, 10, 15 minutes, go light a candle, go take a minute, breathe in and out. Mindfulness, there's tons of videos out there. Again, if you want to try to do meditation is just a time to try to clear your head and your thoughts. There is guided meditations. There is just quiet meditation times. There's actually a lot of online meditation courses right now that are free because of COVID. But there's a ton of stuff on YouTube, and, just try to find those things. Listen to a podcast in the car that you've been really wanting to listen to, or take the long way home from work, or take a country drive, whatever it is that is for you, because you deserve it and you need it just like everyone else. Again, you're taking on the weight of a lot of things when you're in the education field. Social awareness, and that's the ability to take others' perspectives, recognizing strengths in others, empathizing with others, including those from diverse backgrounds, cultures, and contexts. Includes the capacity to feel compassion for others, understanding broader historical and social norms for behavior in different settings, recognizing family, school, and community resources. Again, taking other perspectives, recognizing strength, demonstrating empathy and compassion, understanding and expressing gratitude, identifying diverse social norms, including unjust ones, recognizing situational demands and opportunities, and understanding the influences of organizations and systems on behavior. Empathy is the quality of being in tune with the emotions of others. And sometimes the term empathy refers to the ability to imagine and understand how people might be thinking or feeling, what researchers might call cognitive empathy or perspective taking. And I know that there's a lot going on. So I know that sometimes I always feel like I'm over empathetic about things because I just take everything so hard. And I know in education, we tend to, especially with students, you take everything that they're feeling home with you. It's not always easy to leave it at the door. And empathy is about finding echoes of yourself in another person. And that includes your coworker, your teammate, your principal, your assistant principal, your school secretary, your custodial staff, the people in the cafeteria. Finding that empathy in everyone. Everyone may have a good day or a bad day. Empathy helps us live longer and encourages us to do things for the sake of others. It can reduce prejudice and racism. It creates bridges between people. It makes us feel and want to help others, including those from stigmatized groups. And empathy can fight inequality. In personal relationships, empathy can deepen intimacy and boost relationship satisfaction. Empathy cultivates positive teacher-student relationships, and it's one of the qualities that students value most in their teachers. If you show a student that you care and that you understand and that you are listening, you have them. They know if you are faking it. They know if you are not feeling it. And one of my friends told me a long time ago, sometimes there's a student that is very difficult to get along with, or just you're constantly clashing with. Find one thing to start loving about them, and that's what it is. You got to find one thing in every student, and just remembering that these kids have so many things on their plate too, and their feelings and their emotions are real, and just accepting that, and allowing them to feel those things and letting them know it's okay to feel those things. Empathy relates to more positive student outcomes, greater participation and motivation to learn, increased self-esteem, social connections and skills, and decreased disruptive behavior and absences. And compassion, all this leads to compassion, which means to suffer together. I feel like if you're in education, everybody's kind of suffering together, especially right now, and all the times that we're going through and all the struggles that everybody's had to adjust to, lots of loss, lots of things this year. Compassion can arise from empathy, the more general ability to understand and feel others' emotions, but goes further by also including the desire to help. Compassion leads to action. We often call that result kindness. Kindness always includes the intention to benefit for other people. And research has shown that compassion and kindness are deeply rooted in human nature and our first impulse to cooperate rather than compete. Even toddlers spontaneously help people in need out of genuine concern for their welfare. There's compassion training programs, even brief ones. They strengthen those reward circuits in the brain and lead to lasting increases in self-reported happiness. Kindness and compassion makes us happier, healthier people. And actually, people that volunteer or help, they say, those people are happier. Doing for others makes you happier. If you could take maybe one day a week and do something for someone. So, see if it starts to boost your happiness or makes you feel like a more compassionate or kind person or helps someone that may need it. Compassion makes us more resilient. It, helps us handle those strong emotions that occurs. Kindness and compassion are good for our health. It can reduce the risk of heart disease by slowing the heart rate, and compassion training has been shown to reduce stress hormones and boost the immune system. And acts of kindness like donating money helps lower blood pressure. People that volunteer, again, are healthier overall. Seniors who volunteer, they say, live longer, lower chance of dying. Helping others, help people fighting addiction. There's all kinds of things, to do that can change the way that, you're feeling and the ways that to increase your happiness. Compassion is kindness and compassion improves our relationships. It's associated with more satisfaction in friendships. I liked this one. In surveys of over 10,000 people across 37 cultures, kindness was rated the most important quality in a mate and the only one universally required. And, to me, that just shows you across the world, there's a lot of good people, a lot of people that want to see more kindness and happiness and compassion. Kindness and compassion benefits our schools, and employees who receive more compassion in the workplace see themselves, their coworkers, and their organization in more positive light, and they are more committed to their jobs. A compassionate workplace culture is linked to less burnout, greater teamwork, and higher job satisfaction. And when teachers show kindness, warmth, and child-centered practices, students start to show increased empathy and pro-social behavior as well. Relationship skills is the ability to establish, maintain healthy and supportive relationships and effectively navigate settings with diverse individuals and groups. Relationship skills in the workplace, can be difficult. You have all these different personalities coming together, and it is hard to see people in different views or different situations. And, it does take some team building and some work, especially if you're the new guy coming in and the other people have worked together for 5 or 10 years. It's hard. But when we think relationship skills, let's think about communicating effectively, developing positive relationships, demonstrating cultural competency, practicing teamwork and collaborative problem solving, resolving conflicts constructively, resisting negative social pressures and showing leadership in groups, seeking or offering support or help when needed, and standing up for the rights of others. Positive collegial relationships. And, this is from Berkeley, but I will tell you, I think if you've ever worked in a setting, having a good team and good schoolmates and good education, like you're having good relationships with your administrator and the people in your building, man, it makes or breaks you, and the kids see it. The kids know if you are a strong group of people and that you guys have really positive relationships. And if you do, research shows that those kids are, in a more positive environment. They're showing more positive things that are going on because you guys are modeling it, they're seeing it, and they're replicating it. Research shows that when school staff, including teachers and administrators, have positive relationships with each other, everyone benefits, staff and student alike. See, those student teachers who felt that colleagues at their placement schools got along well with each other were more likely to want to work in that school in the future. I like substitutes coming in. If you're a sub and you go into a building, man, if you feel welcomed, you're like, oh, I want to go back there. But if you didn't feel anything from that school, usually, especially in Fayette County, like it was a large district, if a person came and they wasn't feeling the school climate there, they would, they wouldn't come back. So, just thinking about those things when people are coming into your building, they see that, parents see that, the communities see what your building is presenting or representing. Support from both principals and administrators, and especially from their peers, makes teachers feel more committed to teaching as a profession. Teachers perceive their colleagues as compassionate towards them. When teachers perceive their colleagues as compassionate, they show higher levels of organizational commitment, those positive emotions and job satisfaction. They're better able to cope with stress. When teachers get along and trust each other, they try to help each other improve. Trust between colleagues is so important. And I know that sometimes it can be almost competitive when you're working in a school environment, but instead start trusting your teammate. I will be the first to say I was not a very strong person when it came to teaching math, and my teammate was. So I would go to her and ask her strategies to use when teaching my students on certain things. That was her strength. My strength was writing. My strength was history. We all shared the load, and, not being afraid to reach out when you know that your colleague might, have some good answers for specific subjects, Teachers who receive that one-on-one mentoring from experienced colleagues at the beginning of their careers are more cooperative with other teachers later on. And I will tell you, if you are a new teacher, reach out to someone to be your mentor. If your school doesn't provide that, you can learn so much from seasoned teachers. It's always good to have someone that you can look to for guidance, or someone that can give you good information. Sometimes it doesn't always work like that, but if you reach out and find the right person, it's going to be really great. It's going to help you build, not only your practices, but your ability to collaborate with others. When you develop those authentic, self-driven, collegial relationships based on mutual support and trust, personal and curriculum development are likely to result. Students do better academically when they get along better, when staff get along well. And I'm not going to go through the research of that, but obviously if the students see you getting along in a strong, united front, then they're going to start to model and replicate those same things that you guys are showing them. Adults who understand, regulate, and talk about their own emotions have less burnout, more trust among coworkers, and greater empathy, safer learning environment, better at teaching and modeling SEL, and better relationships with students. Responsible decision-making, the abilities to make caring and constructive choices about personal behavior and social interactions across diverse situations. I feel like if we have better self-awareness, better relationship skills, more self-management, we do make more responsible decisions. And depending on the situations of where you are in the building, or what's going on through the school year, you want to think about demonstrating curiosity and open-mindedness, identifying solutions for personal and social problems, learning to make a reasoned judgment after analyzing information, data, and facts. You're going to be able to anticipate and evaluate the consequences of one's actions, recognizing how critical thinking skills are both useful inside and outside of school, and reflecting on one's roles to promote personal, family, and community well-being, evaluating personal and interpersonal, community, and institutional impacts. Getting to know your staff is important. If you've got a new teammate coming in, it is important to get to know them. What if they have a food allergy, and you're trying to give them peanut butter? There's these things that you don't think about always. Do they have a spouse? Do they have kids? What other outside responsibilities do they have? Do they have pets? Is there a religious thing that they need to take care of? Do they need to pray a certain time throughout the day? Or, these are the things that you need to think about when you're working with others. Think about who has what degree. Maybe if someone has a math degree and you're weak in the math area, hey, you can go talk to this other teacher about, like I said, going to get extra assistance on something that you might not have as a strength. Weaknesses, are they an introvert? Are they an extrovert? Do they have special abilities? Do they speak different languages? Do they play sports or coach sports? And I put, why is this important in your building or school? It is important because you want to put staff in places where they can make a difference. You yourself, if you speak a different language, let people know, you'll be an asset to the school. If you played sports, you would be an asset to the school. You might be able to help out with one of the teams. If you are, if you have special abilities of some sort, these things, will help you build your place in the school. Especially if you're a new teacher, don't be shy about sharing the things that you're good at. Don't be shy about having weaknesses. Talk to someone that you trust, or you're trying to build a trust with, and say, I'm really struggling in this area. Can you help me? It is absolutely okay to ask for help. It's better to ask for help, and then instead of letting half the school year go by just struggling through, because it's not good for you or the students. Again, building on the staff's strengths and weaknesses, finding the right staff and placing them in roles that amplifies their abilities. And that's your own personal responsibility too, is finding your place in the school. You have to make your own way a lot of times, and just showing the staff what you're built of, making sure they understand, like, hey, I speak Spanish, or I have an undergrad degree in English Lit. I mean, whatever it is that you could share that, might make a different place for you in the school. Developing committee members and leaders and after school club leaders, giving chances to people that have hidden talents, leading by example, stepping out of your own comfort zones. And it is your role to lead as a teacher. Lead by example, making sure every person feels seen, heard, and appreciated. That is adults and students alike. No staff student favorites, being culturally responsive. Every person is your team member. Don't lead from your office or your desk. Lead out in those hallways, the lunchroom, car duty, and classroom. Giving that extra support to people, sometimes that's all they need to gain your trust. Support your staff and your team. These people are your family. New staff need someone to help guide their practices. Again, if someone doesn't reach out to you, reach out to someone. Give constructive criticism if needed. Set your new staff up with a mentor. Matching a special education teacher is great, I think, to a regular education teacher or an ELL teacher to help mentor. Those things are great. Try to find someone that is the opposite of you, so you can learn about their role and they can learn about yours. I included, this is Castle's tools and resources. You can go to their website, castle.org, and they have tons of SEL information, different activities and things for adults and students alike. So I hope that you can visit there when you get a chance. Creating a positive environment. These are things that I had initially, it was part of a training for district leaders, principals, and people that would be working to create a better staff environment. But, I kind of reworked it a little bit, so bear with me, but I wanted it to also be here so that you guys can use these as examples. You can bring it up at a staff meeting. You could share it with people, or you could just, initiate some things on your own, with proper approval. But, don't be afraid to be a voice or to be a change in your school. My favorite quote is, be the change you wish to see in the world. And Gandhi is, one of those, that's the one thing that I always wanted to be in the classroom. I wanted to be the change. And if I couldn't be the change, then I didn't want to be there. Positive school climate is associated with lower absenteeism and school violence, and increased school connectedness, student motivation to learn, academic achievement, and teacher retention. And there's just a little quote, and your school climate is going to represent who you are, whether it's your classroom or your school. The type of administration you have, the type of teachers that you have is going to be represented. Parents are going to feel it. Strangers coming in are going to feel it. I can go into school and tell you if their environment's positive or negative. You can feel it when you walk in. So, remember that as you are walking into your classroom every day. What are you putting out? What are you giving? And, what are you representing? Find a way to check in with your staff or team daily. This includes individual teachers. If you have a teammate, try to come up with check-in system for your special education team or your regular education team. You can check in by having a system outside your door, even a group text, having a team walk through and check on staff and their various needs. If you're a counselor or someone else, just checking on teachers. I mean, I know how many calls that I used to make. Hey, can someone come watch my class for a minute so I can go to the restroom and get a drink? Or, just giving teachers that time without them having to ask sometimes is so nice. Just giving them a breather for just 2 or 3 minutes, because they are on from the time they walk in until the time they leave. Having an electronic check-in or check-out system, using parent volunteers to help out with various activities like copies, refreshment carts, things that other staff might not be able to find time for. Refreshment carts, PTA is a great way to do that. It's nice to not just have it on Teacher Appreciation Week, but maybe on a Wednesday or a Thursday when you're absolutely exhausted and they come by with that fresh cart of drinks or snacks, and just surprising your staff sometimes, or even doing, that could be something that you do as a team. Finding those little things. Lots of people are willing to donate. You just have to ask. The worst they can say is no. Lots of local stores, especially smaller communities, will throw in some candies or chips or things like that. Just those little things make all the difference in the day. Staff engagement and peer building. Getting to know you activities are, they're big, especially for new teachers coming in. If you're virtual, you can do virtual and in-person games and skill building. Change seating during meetings. Virtual coffee breaks. Virtual after-hour get-togethers. Virtual or in-person reading circles. Virtual or in-person group activities like crafting, arts, sports. Including everyone in your staff, giving everyone an opportunity to be part of a team. Your school aesthetics, making the lounge area a place that is actually calm, comfortable, and soothing, where you can actually eat and relax and talk to your teammates. Allowing your classrooms that are comfortable for both you and the students, representing your population throughout the building and in the classroom. And, when I say that, that's if you have different races, cultures, making sure they're represented throughout your building and into your classroom, making sure every student that comes in feels like they're welcome and they're part of something bigger. Having a mission and expectations that match your population and eliminates implicit biases. Make it a place where parents and families feel welcome. Music, lighting, smells, things that can change your classroom. Make sure it doesn't re-traumatize the staff or student, or that they're not allergic to it. Mindfulness, yoga, brain breaks should be for adults in the building too. So if you have an area that you can use for teachers, or have someone, we had someone that would come in and do Zumba, 2 or 3 times a week. You can have someone come in and do yoga or mindfulness. You could even do like a YouTube led one that's 10 minutes, put it somewhere in the building. Somebody just needs to go take 10 minutes. You can do it in your classroom. I mean, it just depends on what you want to do. You can do that with your kids. I used to do meditations with my students before they would do testing. And, as the school year went, I kept the data and all of their grades improved. Their testing ability improved. They were able to clear their minds before they got started. Or if they were in very stressful situations, we would, go into like a closing your eyes, taking deep breaths kind of thing. And, you'd be surprised what 5 deep breaths in and 5 deep breaths out can do for you. Or, counting for 5 in and 5 out. Just a few times can make a difference. Common areas for staff. I always say bathrooms should have those endless supplies of hand soaps and lotions, or that's what you hope for anyways. The things that you need for your staff, Band-Aids and acids, things like that, things that you don't always have on you, place for that to go. I know our school receptionist, she was very great about making sure that we had things that we needed that we couldn't just run out to the store and get. Positive sayings or small meditations or breathing exercises in the bathrooms, cafeteria, lounge areas for staff and students can give a couple of minutes of calm. And, that is for staff and students who need it. I mean, you never realize like just 2 minutes of a quick little exercise can make you feel a little better and get you kind of backgrounded, especially if you've had a really stressful day. Celebrating adults in the building. And this is something that you guys could do individually as a team. Talk to your admin, your PTA, coffee bars. Everybody, you see those Keurigs on sale. You know, a couple people purchase those. Everybody donates K-Cups. Again, refreshment carts, smoothie bars, Gene Days. We did shout outs for the staff and students, and we created a bucket filler system. There's an actual book, but the bucket filler book, and it's talking about the buckets that people carry around every day, how full it is and overflowing, and how it can be with if you give a lot of positives to the students and the adults in the building, or it can be empty because everybody keeps taking from your bucket until it's empty because there's been so much negative, and you really want those buckets to be overflowing with positives. Even shouting your staff out at the end of the day, you know, makes them feel good too. Giving your team, somebody on your team, a post-it note that says, you know, that was a great lesson. You did awesome today. You know, just those little things help. Snacks, extra breaks, extended lunches. If there's 4 of you on a team, 2 of us used to say, you know what, we'll take your class to lunch to give people extra time, or we'll take the classes out to recess to give you an extra 10 minutes. I mean, working together as a team, giving those little bit of extras helps. And you know, you can almost tell when your team members need it. Catering or ordering out, birthday lunches, birthday cakes, individual notes with treats, anonymous treat giving or treat boxes. This is all things that you guys can do just to do something nice in your building. And maybe you have a committee for that. One of the teachers that I used to work with, she would actually bake an actual birthday cake for every single student because she wanted every student to feel like they had a birthday cake, which I thought was amazing. I did not have that in me to be able to bake a birthday cake for every single student every time, but I would always do some kind of special treat. But she would bake it from scratch, a birthday cake every single birthday for the kids in her class. Having those hard conversations with your staff is going to make a difference. There's adult bullying in buildings, you know, sometimes, and it's very difficult. And, you know, just creating a no tolerance policy for yourself, or, you know, maybe that's something that your school has. You know, if someone comes to you and starts to bully, you know, handling that in a professional way can be hard sometimes. Someone isn't doing their share, addressing it and giving it feedback. If someone's a gossiper, I always say stop in their tracks. Say, I'm sorry, I don't, you know, this isn't my place to talk about it. This isn't something I want to do. Don't be part of that group. You know, keep yourself out of those situations. If you have an issue with someone that you need to, you know, they're not doing their share, they need to step up or step down from a situation, talk to them directly. You know, don't talk to your neighbor about it, talk to them directly. It's usually a lot easier to confront those situations head on than to have 4 other people hear about it and then try to tell that person that something's going on that they didn't know about. You know, that conflict among staff, sit down, work through it as professionals. It's easier, like I said, head on than to let it go and gossip about it for weeks at a time until it gets, you know, really intense or really bad where you don't want to go to work, or you make someone else not want to go to work. If someone needs guidance and teaching, be a support. Give constructive criticism. Don't give criticism without suggestions, people. I always hate when somebody would be like, I would do this, but gave me no suggestions. Or they would just say that wasn't a very good lesson, or that, you know, something needed to be fixed, but they didn't give you any suggestions for it. You know, give those helpful suggestions if you have those. Meetings, you know, having things, if you're creating a meeting or if you're part of a meeting, maybe your admin does this. And if they don't, maybe you can bring some snacks or some surprises or timers, you know, keeping yourself on a timer even during teaching, keeping yourself on a timer for making sure you pick up your kids from specials on time. You know, making sure you have a timer for, oh, let me turn the attendance in, or, you know, just making sure there's no wasted time in your day, especially after school. No one wants to have wasted time after school. Using emails to eliminate unnecessary conversations during meetings. I always say teachers need their planning time and time for team collaboration and decompression. So make sure you're utilizing your time as wisely as you can so that you don't have to stay over. I don't care who you are, staying over till 6 or 7 o'clock at night doesn't always make you a better teacher. Really use your time, get out of there, go home and spend time with yourself and your family. We overwork. We want it to be perfect. It's not always perfect. A lot of times we just spend a lot of time in other places where we could organize our time a little bit better and get out of the building for the day. Celebrate all staff, not just certified teachers. Celebrate your staff. Our team used to do stuff for our cafeteria staff. We cooked for them one day and brought them food. Just those little things makes a difference in just saying thank you. Highlight teacher staff. You can even do that as a team. Phone calls, postcards, yard signs, letters from other staff. Have the students write letters to other teachers. Great titles to support your staff. The Burnout Cure, Learning to Love Teaching Again, because I feel like so many people are burnt out right now with teaching. And it's not even so much the kids, it is with all the busy work and the expectations and the testing and all the things that overwhelm them on a daily basis. 100 Days of Self-Care for Busy Educators. It's ways to be able to take care of yourself. And I don't know, it's fun that you could do it like again with your grade level team, with people in your building, just announce you're doing it and have people join if they want to join and purchase their own books. There's another one called Onward, Cultivating Emotional Resilience in Education. I also did this other Take Time for You, Self-Care Action Plans for Educators. So today we learned about the importance of staff SEL, and we learned about the importance of understanding, recognizing, regulating, and controlling your own emotions, and learning how to understand and support staff and SEL in your building, and cultivating those adult relationships and understanding how building those positive staff-student relationships, how it kind of pours over. Just remembering that, each day that you go in, you have to turn it off. And that's hard sometimes to turn off what's happened the night before at your house. Maybe you and your husband got an argument, or maybe you and the dog had a big, issue, or, something broke. There's always like an appliance or something breaking if you're a homeowner. I mean, especially during COVID, there's been a lot of illness. There's a lot of things going on. And every day you have to go in, try to turn it off and be fresh for those students. And, I'm starting to learn it's okay to accept how you're feeling. You don't have to let it spill over into your classroom, but it's okay to say, I'm tired. It's okay to allow the students to feel how they're feeling, but teaching students to recognize how they're feeling is really important too. We don't realize their big emotions. We model and teach them how to express their feelings. And we can do it through lessons. We can do it through just modeling and being a good example for them, but making our class very inclusive and very open to social emotional learning. I mean, really allowing students to feel and to be okay just to come in, and they can feel sad, or they can feel happy, or they can feel tired. They're allowed to feel those emotions just like we are. So today's training, you will leave with the following: all of today's links, the book titles for future reference, self-care bingo, the SEL activities, links and visuals, mindfulness documents and links, the SEL self-assessment, and the random acts of kindness calendar, and that is filled in. It's the little things that make the difference in everything that you do. So, taking time to do something nice for someone else is going to, not only benefit you, but benefit them, and I think the more random acts of kindness that you do for people, I don't know, it does something to your heart, makes you feel a whole lot better about yourself. I appreciate you letting me be part of this. Like I said, I'm very passionate about it. I looked at the impact data. It's not easy working, in a professional relationship, especially, with, people, especially if you're starting out and you're a new teacher. There's a lot going on. Again, we're in the middle of this pandemic. We all need to show a lot more grace. I hope that you will take the time to take care of you, because you need to, in order to continue doing the great things that you guys are doing. And if there's anything I can ever do to help support that, let me know. And I hope I get the chance to work with you all, or, let you, or get to see you all again. And I appreciate being able to be part of this again. If you have any questions, I'm here.
We certainly appreciate that. I think it is good, especially this group of teachers. Some of them are emergency and probationary teachers. Some of them are new teachers. Some of us are veterans in the business. But the beauty of it is that we all need to be reminded of how important it is to take care of ourselves, how important it is, and how important the role of our colleagues are, the people that we are surrounded with every day, and how we can support and nurture those relationships, because it is, it's a much more pleasant experience to work every day when you are surrounded by people who have that same thinking. I thank you for your work that you're doing in special education. We appreciate everything that you do. We appreciate the hard work that you put in every day, and thanks to all of you special educators. I think we make such a difference collectively with all the work and the good things that are happening. So don't forget to thank your colleagues, think about what you've contributed, and recognize that you're making a difference, that we're one step at a time making change and making better experience for our students with disabilities. Rachel, we appreciate your time, your expertise, and you really got, I think, have us thinking about really what we can do to take care of ourselves, to take care of the people around us. So we thank you for that.
Well, I thank you all for letting me be part of it. I enjoyed visiting with you all today, and I definitely hope at least one thing that there was one thing that you could take home with you today. So
great. Thank you.